Bet you thought I was gone. Bet you thought I haven't been working on the car. Well, just because a fella hasn't posted any videos doesn't mean he hasn't made any progress. Let's take you in on a little update. So, the motor is back together. Everything. She's all done. But I made a drastic error. As you can see, that's not the good old Summit carb that I had last year. That is a Holley 650 double pumper. See, I thought that maybe I was missing out on a couple of HPs. Thought I was leaving some horsepower on the table. So I decided to do the wrong thing and sell my brand new Summit carb that ran flawlessly last year. And I decided to buy this carb that had probably been sitting in a random bush for the past 35 years and rebuild it. What could go wrong, you say? Glad you asked. Let's take a little gander. Well, she's missing the choke. The choke horn's been milled down a little bit. Yeah, right there. The rear float bowl sight plug, yeah, she was missing. So we had to drill and retap it for an 1/8 inch MPT pipe plug. That's definitely not the way you want to go about things. I put a rebuild kit into this thing. I jetted it as per the factory specs. Can't remember what they were. Maybe 67 primaries and 70 some odd secondaries. I'm not too sure. Thing runs like an absolute turd. Can't even get this thing to idle. Blows smoke like the Armageddon is coming down the street. Fouls out plugs in less than 17 seconds flat. And will even hydrolock your motor full of gasoline. Yeah, these are the joys of which my life is right now dealing with this car. It's ready. It's ready to run. Season's almost over. I could be out this week ripping it around. Instead, you guessed it, I'm selling this carb and I'm going out and buying another brand new Summit 600 vacuum secondary. Reason for that is I ain't that good with carbs yet. Second reason is for a street strip application, 302 with, less than, this thing probably makes 350 crank, 300 wheel horsepower. You don't need a double pumper. Yeah, sure, they say it's good with a 5-speed and stuff like that. If you're living in, the 6,000, 7,000 RPM rev limit all day long, you're always on it. Yeah, maybe the double pumper is good for you if you're at the track all the time. This car is just a burnout machine and drive it to and from work on the nice days and stuff like that. I don't need a double pumper. I need my good old Summit carb back. So she's on order. She's coming back. But besides the motor being back together and running after the rebuild, there's some new things too with the car. Let's go over to the other side. Let's take a gander. Now, you remember last year I had a plywood dash and I had some hokey gauges and stuff. Any more? Oh, I just hit something. Yeah, probably a couple more dents. Don't mind all of that stuff right there. I'm working out some wiring right now. Obviously rewiring the whole car again for the 17th time in a year. But look at that. Would you just look at that? Is that factory gauges? No, it can't be. But it is. How is that possible? 86 GT seats? Really? Carpet? What? No, can't be. But yeah, it is. Still got my mechanical gauges right there. But now they're in a pillar pod. Looks a lot better. This right here, that's just the wiring for the light-a-majou. Do all those gauges work? Absolutely not. Just the mechanical speedometer. That's all a fella really needs. What's that? That's the go fast vroom vroom. I've hit the rev limiter gauge. It's amazing. Did I set the RPM right? Let's go ahead and just dial that right up to 8,000 RPM. It's probably where I'll be shifting all the time. But yeah, full on dash. I've retrofitted it. This car's an 86 4i, but now it has an 88 dash in it. It's got 86 GT seats. Full carpet, full interior. Even got a narrow band air fuel ratio gauge. Now I know what you're saying, fellas. Narrow band, they don't really do anything. It's just flashy lights. Well, I got it for free, and so I'm gonna run with it. Even if it is just fancy lights. Makes the car look faster, doesn't it? So yeah, for interior, I'm just working through all the stuff right now. You know, this looks like a rat's nest, and it is, but I'm just going through right now, labeling everything and stuff. And it's quite simple on, because all I'm using is column wiring from the car. That's the only thing factory on this thing. Last year I had this, which is going back in. But without a schematic, you're probably asking a fella, how do you know which wires do what? Well, it's easy. What you want to do is find your thickest wires in the whole column, right? And your thickest wires will always be your powers and your grounds. So go ahead, hook up a 12-volt source, like I did right here with a nut and bolt, safety first. And then go ahead and start playing with switches and stuff. Make sure you have a trusty, handy $5 power tester. And just start going through the wires one by one. Yeah, it sounds tedious. Yeah, it sounds long. It is frickin' boring. If you're a smoker, make sure you got a pack of smokes on hand. If you're vaping and stuff, you know, drink some beers, do whatever you got to do, but you got to get through it. So, you know, just right here, right turn signal, wipers, washer pump and stuff. It can all be found and stuff. Sure, you know, sometimes you got to figure some things out. I have a couple of power wires here, but then one I figured was in, and this ended up being a key source. So the key source now runs the box. So yeah, you heard it right. I have keys for on and off. So when, like before last year, well, I didn't even have door locks on this thing. Anybody could just come in, hit the ignition switch, hit the starter, and boom, they were gone. Yeah, I got a keyed ignition. I even have keyed door lock cylinders this year and a trunk. Like, what's happening to this guy? Carpets, seats, gauges? What's going on? Well, a feller has a lot of spare time recently on his hands. So he figured, get the car up and running and stuff, you know? So that's just what's happening right now. I'm just going through this last bit of wiring while waiting for my carb. And I'm positive, just like last year, because I tried to put a 770 Avenger carb on a used one that I tried to rebuild. I must really suck at rebuilding carbs. I put that on last year at the beginning of the season and could not get this car to run. Ran like a dog. Thought the motor was blown until I just bolted on a brand new carb, and holy mackerel. Night and day. I was at the dyno like 3 days later and made 254 wheel horsepower, 258 foot-pounds of torque. Car ran amazingly. But just everybody got to me, and oh, you know, vacuum secondaries, oh, that's not high performance, and blah, blah, blah. And if you're going to be a racer, which I'm not, I just like to do some hooligans and shenanigans here, there, everywhere. They're like, yeah, you're missing out on at least 30 horsepower, double pumper. Yeah, you know what? If I could go out and get a 680 CFM quick fuel or a brawler or speed demon mechanical secondary and just bolt it on, yeah, probably would run pretty good and stuff, and I probably could tune it, but I don't have that type of money. Hence why I went with the Summit last year. And yeah, so putting the Summit back on, wire up the rest of this car. I also got these bad boys on the back. Cooper Cobra Radial GTs. They are of the 275 6015 flavors. Nice and fat. They're not going to hook at all. Should probably just spin right out, but man, it looks good, doesn't it? Let's one more time. Whew. Sexy. What else did I do? I changed my fueling on the car. Last year I had it sucking in through the top of the tank, through the old EFI fuel sump at the top, and sometimes I would run into fueling issues depending on how low the tank went. So I did the right thing, went to eBay and bought the most cheapest bolt-in fuel sump you could get for a diesel tank. And there it is right there. And it's simple. You drill a hole in your tank. It's a 2-piece unit. They bolt together. There's a big O-ring in between. And then it gives you, well, it gives you 2 AN fittings that you can put if you're really got a lot of money and stuff like that. I just put some hose barb fittings so I could run my good old trusty Parker industrial hose. And got my old pumpulator right there. My old $3, well, not old, it's brand new. Come on, guys, don't cheap out all the time. I got myself a brand new $3 plastic fuel filter. Should be fine. What else did I do? Yeah, well, I had a leaking gas tank right there, so I did the right thing and just gobbed some JB Weld onto it. I got some brand new tank strapulators right there. And yeah, we've never really had a good look down this way of the car, have we? Yeah, it's rusty. It's ugly. It's got subframe connectors. It's got Monroe 3-way adjustable drag shocks. It's got BBK rear control arms. Has this wishbone brace that goes in between the top of the tranny and the floor that connects to the subframe connectors. Oh yeah, one more thing I forgot to show you. Woo. Just dropping things everywhere in this garage. So I had a BBK strut tower brace that I bought when I first had the car when it was still EFI. Well, lo and behold, it never fit with this big honking huge Chevy eBay HEI distributor. So I did the right thing. And I just cut the cross brace that connects those 2 points. Sounds fine. It still has 3 bolting parts. And I think that's going to stiffen it up enough. Worst case scenario, I can always just bend a new bar, maybe do like a hoop over or something like that. Actually, another downside of having this carb, the Summit actually only came to about here. And I was probably going to be able to scoot a bar in this way. And then when I mounted on this hunk of crap that I found at the bottom of the ocean from the Titanic, yeah, the only option I had was just to cut the bar and just leave it. So now as I'm talking about it, I should be able to fab up a new bar once I get the good old trusty Summit carb back on there. Boys and girls, I cannot wait for that again. So yeah, in a nutshell, I'm almost there again. And yeah, don't know what else to say. Keep on keeping on. That's the update for you guys. Take care, subscribe, share, like, comment, tell me I'm an idiot. Love it all. Talk to you guys soon.